All right, hello everyone. Let's get started today. Uh, Welcome to today's webinar. Just a quick introduction. My name is Michael White. I am the Vice President of Open Source Sales here at Sangoma. I'll be joined by Todd Milbrand, National Partner Manager. I'm very excited to introduce Todd Milbrand. Todd is the newest member of the open source sales team here at Sangoma. Plans there to take you through the exciting world of Sangoma's open solutions. For today's webinar, we'll be exploring the various Sangoma products, services, and technologies which leverage open source to create flexible, scalable, and future-proof communication platforms. How are you today, Todd?
I'm excellent. Thanks, Mike. You forgot to mention that I have extensive open source experience, even though I'm new to your team.
Great, Todd. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to take it from here. On the agenda for this morning or afternoon or late night, depending on where you are, we're going to do a quick company overview of Sangoma. We're going to go through our open source offerings. So that's going to be Asterisk, Free PBX, PBXact. We're going to do it at a very high level. We're then going to talk about specifically the Sangoma devices that you can attach to any of our open source offerings. We'll go through softphones. We have pretty awesome desktop and mobile phones that you can get with your solution. We'll talk a little bit about PBXact Cloud, wrap it up with network connectivity, and then the Q&A piece. You can ask questions throughout. If you go to the GoToWebinar panel on your screen, you can go and ask questions. We've got people standing by that will answer those as they come in. But I'll do a quick recap, especially if a question came up multiple times, just so everyone can hear the answer. So with that, let's take 30 seconds, talk about Sangoma. When I first started here 7 years ago, we were a company doing 30 million in revenue, about 75 employees. We're now well over 250 million in revenue with 700 to 800 people on staff. We have offices worldwide. We have customers in over 100 countries, 70 different territories. What we want you to know is, not only are we growing, but that growth means that this project isn't going anywhere. Free PBX, Asterisk, we are the corporate sponsors. It powers a lot of our different solutions, even the ones we're not going to talk about here today. And as of such, that's going to allow us to be there for the long term with you. Now, I'm not saying hiring me 7 years ago is what led to this growth, but I'm just saying it can't be proven it didn't. So let's get into our open source offerings. A lot of people hear Asterisk and they think Asterisk is a phone system. It can be. It's an open source framework that allows you to build out different applications. Asterisk is command line, so you need to be not only comfortable and familiar with the command line, but you also need to be very comfortable with Linux. A lot of our competitors use Asterisk to build out their solutions. But at its core, it's something that somebody can download and build on top of. Folks that actually need a phone system that are not comfortable with Linux, I think most people prefer a GUI if they can get access to it. That's where Free PBX comes in. Even though it's built on top of Asterisk, it's more than just a web GUI for Asterisk. We do have a lot of various different things built in addition to Asterisk that allow you to do some cool stuff. And, of course, we'll give a quick overview on that as we go through everything. Free PBX at its core is a very powerful PBX. It's standards based, so things like SIP, PJ-SIP, being able to work with most SIP devices. It's all there for you. It is by far it's the most popular open source IP PBX on the market. But we have so many of these in production that I would actually go so far as to say is that it might be the most popular phone system in the world. Um, we're constantly coming across different, large organizations that people have heard of, but even smaller organizations or individuals and hobbyists that are running free PBX. Mike, who introduced me, actually was talking to a neighbor a few months ago when he recently moved, and his neighbor is an IT person for a large healthcare organization. When Mike told him what he did, expecting crickets, right? We tell people what we do. Hey, we do open source telephony. Most people just kind of look at us like, I don't know what any of those words are. Um, Mike said that, mentioned free PBX, and the guy goes, "Yeah, I'm running free PBX in my house." So we see it everywhere. If you're on this call, you're probably already running it. And in the base product for free, you pretty much get everything you need, right? You don't have to pay for queues or caller ID or the ability to record calls or do any type of paging and intercom. The way that we're able to pay for the project, which means pay for QA, pay for engineers, pay for developers, is free PBX is quote unquote sold with add-ons. And those various different add-ons, they extend or enhance free PBX. So some of it is, if we look at the Paging Pro module, like you can do paging, you can do various stuff like that with the for free option. But to extend various different features like the ability to do valet paging, like you would hear in an airport. If that doesn't ring a bell for you, it's the type of paging where you speak into your handset, hang up, and then the page goes over. Stuff like that, goes back into the ecosystem that allows us to keep enhancing and developing free PBX. Some of it is also based on making management of the system easier as well. But somebody well versed, of course, can take it, and most of our community does, takes it and never buys anything. But a good portion of our community does need that enhanced functionality or extended features. And some of the most popular ones would be our softphones, which we're going to talk about later, Park Pro, which allows you to get enhanced parking lot features, Page Pro, which I just told you about. And as you can see here, we're mentioning free with PBXact. And of course, I'm going to go over that here shortly. The differences between free PBX and PBXact. And then new to all of this, the community asked for an Oracle connector. So if you're doing anything with hospitality, hotels, things of that nature, and you need to integrate with any sort of hotel PMS, specifically in this case, Oracle, we have the ability to do that. Advanced recovery, which gets you I'm going to call it a hot spare. So that way, it's not high availability, it's not instant, turned over to, primary phone system goes down, you're now on the backup, but it's not a process where you're scrambling to get a system up and running. You've got a hot recoverable server ready to go at a moment's notice if you need it. And then MFA, which some people might see that and go Master of Fine Arts degree. It's actually multi-factor authentication. So the ability to further protect your systems, whether it's at an admin level or user level, being able to send out a code after somebody puts in a username and password to ensure that they really do have access to a system. So what is PBXact? PBXact is the commercialized version of free PBX. And it's commercially hardened. It's the same operating system, same software. PBXact does not get updated unless it's security related. For about 6 months after free PBX does. So our engineering and dev teams are currently hard at work at free PBX 17. After that goes through our extensive QA process, it's going to get released out to the community. And then about 6 months later, after we've gotten real world feedback that we're able to address, we'll take that feedback, put it into free PBX, but then we will also incorporate all of that into PBXact and release PBXact about 6 months later. So we have a different sales model with PBXact. If we were to go back a couple of slides to these free PBX add-ons, we've got the bundles here. Of course, you can get any of our modules a la carte. So the sales model here is you're buying everything at a modular level, right? So if you need, the starter bundle for $149 per year, you're able to get Conference Pro, Extension Routing, Fax Pro, etc. PBXact, we include about 90% of the modules right off the bat. You would still need to do some add-ons for things like call center and a few other add-ons. Mike, what are the other add-ons that you can? Is MFA included, or is it's PBXact and call center, correct?
So call center, advanced recovery, any of the hospitality modules. We also offer a version of Endpoint Manager that includes all of the feature functionality of the phone apps module. So
Gotcha.
those are the ones.
Awesome, thanks, Mike.
Anytime, sir.
So it's a completely different sales model. What we typically see is that at least on the various different ways you can deploy it, especially hardware or software. If you're a reseller, whether you're currently reselling something of ours, you're on here because you're considering it. It's a lot easier to sell somebody something called PBXact than something called free PBX. But as we get into things like PBXact Cloud, and we're certainly going to talk about some of the promotions we have around everything as we go through this. PBXact Cloud, if you're looking to host this in a data center, whether it's your own, whether it's offsite, when you start to run the numbers of actively managing your free PBX in the cloud, having to take care of things, having to pay for support, having to bring trunks in, PBXact Cloud, comparatively, when you run all those numbers and do an ROI, is a much stronger value than trying to do that on your own. So if you do want to roll it on your own, though, and you do want to roll with PBXact, you absolutely can do that. We've got perpetual licensing. You can get support contracts with 24/7 SLAs as low as $3 per user. We've got conversion tools to easily convert your free PBXs into PBXacs. It's fairly easy to get that done. And as you can see, it's not very expensive at all. You can roll it with a pre-made appliance or put it on your own appliance. What's great about free PBX and PBXact is they're tightly integrated with SipStation. So no longer having to, go in and build things out and choose ports and choose different settings and hit save and apply and then go crap. It's, it still didn't connect. I got to go back through a wiki. If If you go with SipStation, it's all tightly integrated. You copy and paste the key and you're done in a few moments. If you go with our endpoint manager, so that's only needed when you're not using a Sangoma base phone. We support 300 plus endpoints from over 20 manufacturers. And then to reiterate what Mike was talking about earlier with the add-ons, we've got the third-party phones, which again gets you those easy management and setup and provisioning of those 300 different endpoints. Call center module, which is going to, again, you get queues and all of that for free. Call center module is going to give you advanced reporting, things like a webhook to present on your website. Hey, put your phone number in here and call me, or put your phone number in here and it'll connect the call to us, or even queue callbacks, right? So you call in, hey, it's going to be a 10-minute wait. Do you want to press 1 and have us call you back when you're next in line? Stuff like that's going to be in the call center module. Advanced recovery is what we talked about earlier with the Hotsphere. And then, of course, the Oracle connector that we've talked about as well, if you want to integrate with a hotel or hospitality PMS. Some of the other things I did not mention as far as being part of the call center module, scheduled reports. So that's going to be our new CDR Pro module that's coming out here shortly. Caller ID management. So that's the ability to have your agents or people in your call center select a particular caller ID. Typically, it's to match the area code that they're calling into, so that you have a higher likelihood of actually connecting that call and getting an answer. Advanced recovery works over your WAN. You do need to have SSH communication, but you can auto failover of your trunks and endpoints. While it's automatic, it's still, what would you say, Mike, up to 5 minutes before everything may fully fail over there? Between 1 and 5?
Depend on the amount of information that's being transferred, but it is working in the background on a schedule. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect. So next, we're going to go over the devices within our portfolio. I'm just going to slow down here. Mike, have any questions come in thus far?
Yeah, sir. The questions are open if anyone has one.
Gotcha. Thank you. So we do make phones and headsets. We have end of life our S&D phone models, and we are now on our P phones. They work with all of our different platforms, and they are made for a very tight integration with those platforms. And our headsets are made to automatically provision and work right off the bat with our P phones, but you can also connect those via USB to use Sangoma Talk or Sangoma Phone on your desktop. It's a very comprehensive phone catalog, so we've got everything from, the lower end, which is smaller phones with smaller screens that typically would go on a wall or in on a desk of a person that doesn't use a ton of or doesn't make a ton of phone calls. We've got decked phones and everything in between, all the way up to the high end. We've got the P370, which is our touchscreen phone. And we do have an attendant console, the PM200. So people still love their buttons. So if you've got a receptionist or anybody that wants more buttons, more BLF, more being able to see things or do different things, we've got that available, and that'll work on our P330 and the P370. And the P330, as you'll find out when we go through this, also supports Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So at the lower end, these P310s and P315s, we see them being sold everywhere, very popular in schools. Teachers always have a phone on their desk, but they're not talking very often, but it is needed in the classroom. The big difference here being the 310 is 10100, the P315 is gigabit. All of these phones, as we go through them, support some really cool stuff that we're able to do. Being the manufacturer of both the phones, but also the corporate sponsor of Asterisk and Free PBX. For example, we can build apps into these phones, and we have. So for example, we've got a voicemail app. My neighbor recently opened up a salon. She went with PBXact Cloud. I went and set up the phone system for her. I just left the phones there. I wasn't able to do any training for her, and I was going to go back the next day, and I talked to her that night, and she goes, "I don't need any training. It was super easy. In fact, somebody called and left me a voicemail. I hit the voicemail button, and it brought everything up like it does on my iPhone, and like I was able to just listen to it." So if you're an end user, apps and things like that make it a lot easier for you and your colleagues and others to actually navigate and use these phones without having to do things like, put in a whole bunch of codes just to get your voicemail. So on these P3 series phones, specifically 320, 325, and 330, the higher up you go in numerically, the more buttons you get. But with the P330, you also get built-in Bluetooth functionality as well as Wi-Fi. So the P330 is great for people working from home. It's cable modems in the basement, offices on the second floor. You can put this in, connect it to Wi-Fi, and not have to worry about somehow snaking Cat5 or Cat6 wire all throughout the house. And then for executives or owners or anybody that just wants a cool phone, we got the touchscreen P370. This also has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Can connect to our PM200 expansion module, just like the P330. And it's just, every time I take this to a show, people come running over to the booth. It's a beautiful phone. And one other thing I want to mention about our phones before I move on, that we can do as being the manufacturer of these phones and the sponsor of Free PBX, is something called short press, long press. So I'm going to use the PM200 expansion module for a moment. You can see green for people that are available. You can see red for people that are on do not disturb. We can help you program a phone to do different things based on what you're seeing with these BLF keys. So the example I'm going to use is if I'm a receptionist in a law firm. I'm maybe up front. I handle the senior partners, and they never like to pick up their phone. I can set it up so I get a phone call for partner A, and we'll call him Michael White. Call comes in from Michael White. I put them on hold. I can long press on that BLF key. So let's just say it's this top one right here on the upper left under Jim Washburn. I can program it so that if I long press that key, it automatically puts his phone off hook, and I'm able to have an intercom conversation with him. I can make it so that long press becomes an automatic transfer straight to his voicemail. I can make short press just what you think it would be. It just rings and dials him, or it transfers a call to him. So it's a nice way to be able to add additional efficiency to your workflow um, with something as simple as a regular press, like you're used to on these keys. Just boop, you're done, or hold it a little longer, and you get different behavior based on whatever you're looking for. And we do have a promo this particular quarter. For every 10 of the 330s you purchase, you get a free attendant console, so a free PM200. So if you're looking to either stock up or you're looking to get a bunch of 330s in the near future and you wanted to try out the PM200 and you need it, we've got that readily available to you. So let's get into our soft phones. This is another device, if you will, even though it's software based, that we go ahead and make available to folks. We have both desktop and cell phone based. Cell phone, it's going to work on both iOS and Android. I think we're past the point where people ask if it'll work on Windows Phone, but if you're one of those people still holding on to a Windows Phone, it's not going to work on there. It's fully featured, and we're continuing to add to all of this, on a month-over-month basis. You can do things like access a quick dial. So this would be where you would see frequently dialed contacts. If they've got any phone usage going on, you can see that. So you can see people that are off call, on call. So you can get BLF right out of your mobile phone. Very handy if you're let's say on the golf course and you need to get a hold of somebody in the office. You get a full history. Everything's logged, and if you record calls, they're logged locally. Any of your contacts from PBXact and your phone's native contacts are going to show up there. Everything you would expect out of a phone, the ability to hold, bring a call back off hold, conference somebody in, transfer, whether it's blind or an assisted call, voicemail, push notifications, do not disturb. You can also do one-to-one video calling. So it's going to be somebody else that's on a Sangoma Talk or Sangoma phone application. So the contacts, it does pull from your PBX. It'll ask you for permission to access your mobile device contacts. You can launch voice and video calls right from here. You can even send and receive text and MMS messages. So if you don't want to give out your personal cell phone info, you want everyone to have a single number to reach you on. You can give out your workday ID, and you can absolutely send and receive those messages right from the soft phone app. In order to do that, you are going to need SipStation. It does not work with other providers. You can send pictures if you were familiar with what SMS versus MMS means. SMS is actual verbiage, right? So words right here, like you got here from Tango. MMS, that's going to be any photos. And it's a zero-touch deployment. Super easy for people to set up. If you've done mobile soft phones in the past, you might have had to see you got to put IP addresses in, fully qualified domains, worry about ports, stun server, this, that. Administrators can go in and send a deep link. People can just click on the deep link and it's automatically going to log them in. No need to concern yourselves with all of the details that an end user is almost never going to remember, like their host, extension number, password, et cetera, et cetera. And we do have a nice little promo on softphones as well. You get a free PBX softphone license for free for 1 year with every P series phone that you buy in this quarter. And you may be saying to yourself, well, why do I not get it with PBXact? That softphone that we just went over for both desktop, or we went over the mobile phone, but that license gets you access to both the mobile phone and the desktop version. It's already included with PBXact. So let's go over a little about what you're going to see with the desktop client. You can, just like on your soft phone, for your mobile phone, send and receive phone calls. You can get BLF of the people you're working with. You can see their presence. You can chat with them. You can park calls right out of here. I can see that Ryan Markham is on Do Not Disturb. Solid green means that Steve Brand down here is on a phone call. I don't think we have properly shown that Dan up at the top is blinking, but blinking green means ringing. If you take a phone call on here, you can very easily park it to let others within the organization go ahead and retrieve it, whether that's from their desk phone, another phone in the organization. But you can get additional information on them as well, such as who's actually waiting, who parks the call. You can chat with people. So if I park it and I'm like, hey, Brian, just want you to know I got your customer parked for you on parking lot 201. You can do that. And it's more than just one-to-one. You can also do group chats. So if you need to let a whole group of people know that there is a new TPS report and you did not follow the proper instructions for the new TPS report, you can let several people know at once. It doesn't have to be just one-on-one. Some people need what are known as call pops to make their workflow with their phone system a lot more efficient. An example of this would be call popping into a CRM. So call comes in, we take this variable for the caller ID name and insert it into a URL that would then do a search within your particular CRM for that information. In this particular instance, for example, we're going to use Google, and you put that in, call comes in, and it's going to do a search for the caller ID name, which was Carrie Markham in this particular instance. But if you've got any internal resources, databases, things like that that are web-based, specifically not based on ASP, but they're HTML that you want to integrate these things with, you can take other variables besides just name, like the number, things of that, and ideally bring up information to whoever's getting the call. Whether it's account info, whether it's popping right into a screen where you can start putting notes, etc. Feel free to ask questions about that. Just like with the mobile app, you can SMS. Again, that's SIP-station dependent. You need to have at least one SIP-station trunk and at least one DID, at least for that person that's going to be using it. And you can do one-to-one SMS, but you can also do MMS as well. So again, MMS is pictures. And of course, you're going to want to send lots and lots of puppy pictures because puppy pictures are the best. Or, if you're on vacation and you're doing some cool stuff, maybe you want to share that as well. What you do need to know, though, is that you can send messages to folks outside your organization via text. You can send various different pictures as well. And you can also see and manage your queues. So you can go in, see whatever queues you have access to. And by the way, everything we've been talking about is permission driven, right? So it's if you have people in your organization, you don't want to have access to certain things, certain features and functionality within the phone system or the soft phones. This is all permissions driven. So you can go and see your queues and how many calls have been missed, how many calls have been taken. You can log into them via there. We also have a queues application on the P phones as well. So for folks that maybe don't have a computer or looking at different screens, you can see all of your members that are logged in, how many calls are waiting, whether individuals within the queue are currently on calls. You get the ability to monitor, whisper, or barge into the call. If you don't know what monitor, whisper, and barge is, monitor would be passively listening to it, right? So I'm a manager. I want to make sure Dan is actually doing and saying the things he should be doing. Maybe he's a newer sales rep or a newer support rep. Whisper would take that a step further. I can listen in on the conversation and I can whisper to Dan so I can give him advice like, hey, talk about PBXact. Hey, ask them about this. Personally, in my experience, the best option would be to choose monitor and then use our chat functionality to give him some info. But some people prefer whisper. And then barge would be completely taking over the call, right? So Dan comes to his manager, says, hey, I've got a really upset customer. Can you jump on this call with us? Instead of, say, three-way calling them in, the manager can just barge in and barge their way into the three-way call. So again, we got this promo for the rest of the quarter. We're calling it toes in the sand, phone in the hand, celebrating summer up here in the north. You get a P-Series phone. You're on free PBX. You're going to get a free 1-year license for each phone that you buy that you can apply to your server. All right, so we're getting into the home stretch now. We're going to talk about PBXact Cloud and some of the benefits around it. I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the call, if you currently have your own free PBX server in your own data center or in the cloud somewhere else, that's something you need to actively manage. You need to actively update. You got to pay for support. So the advantages of PBXact Cloud is you don't have to worry about any failures in your data center. It's naturally multi-site. It includes all of the modules with PBXact, which again are 90% of the free PBX modules we have out there. We have a very robust migration tool to take you from free PBX to PBXact. We maintain and do all the updates for you, so you don't have to worry about keeping things in compliance. You just need to know that you're going to get an email letting you know when we're going to do that maintenance. It's usually between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just that way, if we need to do it at a different time for you, we can. It's also going to give you a support entitlement too. So if you have questions, need assistance, that's going to be available to you inherently as part of the cost of the cloud service. Just like regular PBXact, you can add on those call center options. You can add on multi-factor authentication. You can add on Endpoint Manager, but then you're going to get everything that we offer with normal PBXact. Besides that, inherently as part of it. So you don't have to worry about whether you have particular functionality, particular enhancements, particular easier ways of managing your system. We also give you a basic mode, which makes GUI management even, it simplifies it quite a bit. compared to what you may see with free PBX. This is especially important for partners. More and more customers nowadays want to be able to manage certain aspects of their phone system, and you can certainly give them access to the administrative portion of whatever modules you want to give them access to, and they can use the basic GUI management to access that stuff. I've seen things where in education, they want to constantly change the music on hold, letting people know about upcoming events, upcoming PTA meetings, things like that. And, the only module they have access to is music on hold, and they can go in, drop a new file, and it then plays anytime somebody gets put on hold or music on hold is part of the IVR. With PBXact Cloud, you get a very easy dashboard for managing your system. So you can very easily add new numbers, open a support case, port your numbers. Porting management's all done within the interface. If you have multiple PBXs, right? So for whatever reason, maybe you're a multi-site organization and you want to keep those separate, you can very quickly access all of them for not only adding more users or buying more numbers, but for also management as well. And we do have a cloud promo going on right now, where if you go from prem to cloud, you can get it for $15.99 a user, or trunken user. Talk about that in a second, and get a free P315. So that's our basic model that supports gigabit. And then $19.99 per trunken user will get you a P320 phone. So that is the start of bigger screens and more buttons on your phones. It is only valid for current or new free PBX or PBXact Prem customers. You get the migration module, which migrates everything for you from your Prem system up into the cloud. Free endpoint manager, because you'd be using the Sangoma P phones, and then free support as well. So pretty exciting promo. Mike, anything you want to add about it?
No, I think you've done a great job of explaining it.
Awesome. Well, we're getting to the end here. I'm going to wrap a few things up and then look at these questions and, see how folks felt about what they were presented with today. If you're interested in PBXact Cloud, you can, call into our main number. You can go to cloud.pbexact.com. It allows you to very quickly choose what you need. So trunking a user, a lot of our competitors and actually some of our other platforms here internally, they don't distinguish between users and trunks. So if you get 20 users, you're also part of that is paying for 20 trunks. They just include it all. In order to be more competitive and to really meet the needs of the free PBX community, we have separated it out, because more often than not, if you have 20 users, you only need 5 trunks or 5 channels or 5 phone lines, whatever you want to call it. So that allows us to bring the cost down by not charging you for 20 channels or phone lines or whatever you want to call them. And you can configure that all, choosing whether you want month-to-month, 1 year, or 3 year. Price goes down, if you choose a 1 year, 3 year compared to month-to-month. But you choose the number of trunks you need, which is going to include a user. So when you choose 4 trunks in that 20 user example, you're going to need 16 user onlys down at the bottom here. And those user onlys are $8.95 per month. And then the trunken user on a 3-year plan is $19.95 per month. So really it's $8.95 per user and $11 per trunk. And right from here, you can choose your add-ons. You can choose if you want to bring your own phones. You can choose if you want to buy our phones, rent them, and use the ones that are included for free. And we will then get that spun up for you. And you should be able to access it within an hour at the latest. So no need for waiting for somebody to turn you up to give you login info. You're just going to log back in here and see that your system is ready to go and be administered. So last of the promos, I believe. If you do go with our PBXact cloud before the end of September, $19.99 a trunk per trunken user, $8.99 additional users. But if you need contact center or endpoint manager, so endpoint manager is needed if you're using other manufacturers' phones like Yanlink, Polycom. Instead of paying, I believe, $50 a month on contact center and $25 a month for endpoint manager, you're going to get that for a penny. So literally the cheapest we can give it to you without it being free. And last part of our discussion here before we review the questions. Well, Todd, I don't want to go cloud. I'm going to go with free PBX or PBXact on-prem. How do I connect to the phone network? Because I don't plan on using ShipStation or any VoIP, or you know what, bandwidth is terrible here. I need to plug into some copper lines. Or I've got a T1 I still need to continue to use. We have connectivity products for that. Sangoma's been around since 1984, and really what we were known for before we started changing and growing as a company were our cards that you would put into a server that allow you to plug in phone lines from Verizon, AT&T, Spectrum, Charter, whomever. You can now do that with gateways as well. So these are external devices. These are great if your phone system doesn't have PCI Express ports on it, or your server doesn't have PCI Express ports. You can put in a VoIP gateway that'll connect back to your free PBX or PBXact. It's also great if your phone system is going to be in a different location than your phone lines. And then we also make session border controllers. Trying to keep it high level, also because we're almost done. With session border controllers, you can think of as security for voice, firewalls, routers, other things, security things at the edge of your network were never built, designed, or expected to be able to handle real-time media like a voice stream. A lot of bad actors out in the hacker communities have found various different ways to exploit that by injecting things into real-time media like voice, like video. And an SBC is a very important piece to your security infrastructure to avoid any issues like that. Because when they get in, they're not necessarily interested in your phone system. And lastly, you don't want to go with copper. You don't want to go with T1. You want a very robust and awesome voice over IP trunking solution. We've got ShipStation for you. It's going to give you that SMS and MMS capability using our softphones that we discussed. We got discounts if you go with a contract. And it is super easy to set up. It's just copying a key from that website and putting it from the ShipStation website and putting it into the ShipStation module within free PBX, PBXact, or If you happen to be on here and you have a switch box, same thing happens there. And we did bring back SipStation Happy Hour. If you're not familiar with it, SipStation Happy Hour, it is $12.99 per trunk right now on a 3-year contract, and DIDs are 50 cents each. And with that, Mike, any questions that came up regularly that you want to?
No, we just had one quick question about the PM200, which I was able to answer. One other thing that I might just add in here as well. You may be familiar, but Sangoma has a very extensive channel partner program for its open source products. As our national partner manager, Todd would be more than happy to talk to you about your needs, your customers' needs, see if we can't win some business together. On the screen now, everybody, you're going to see a quick poll. This will give you an opportunity to talk to Todd if you'd like to learn more about our partner program or any of the products that you've seen today. We're happy to talk to you about it. Anything else you'd like to add, Todd or Elvita?
I'll just add, please select yes if you wanted to see anything that we discussed in greater detail or get more specific, with this being an at-a-glance / overview webinar. I'm sure in the future we will have things that go into more detail on specific subjects we touched on, but why wait? Get in touch with me, call into the main number, ask for me. Email me, it's tmilbrand, TMILBRAND @sangoma.com, or just select yes. Be glad to do a one-on-one and show you some more things in detail. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this for everyone. I want to thank you for your time today. Appreciate it. Please be in touch with any questions or anything that you may have for us.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, everybody.